Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Fikri Benzawi. Our group, the Ministry of Youth and Sport, which consists of 5 members, will present about the question given. So, the question given is, with the recent budget presentation for 2022, the government faces enormous challenges on figuring out what the public wants. Discuss the most benefited and least benefited sectors and the rationale of prioritizing this sector in the recent public expenditure exercise. The government should have discussed a proper financial plan in order to expect the future expenditure of this country. In order to do that, the government made the budget presentation for 2022. Before we go through to that topic, we need to know what is budget. The budget is a forecast of revenue and expenditure in certain time of period. In this context, the government made the budget annually, which means every year, to identify which sector need to be prioritized. So, in the budget presentation for 2022, the government faced enormous challenge, which is the most biggest challenge is the COVID-19 pandemic. So, they need to identify which is the most benefit sector, the least benefit sector, and the rationale to prioritize that sector.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sharimi Sofi binti Muhammad Isham and we talk about the most benefit sector. In budget 2022, it can be seen which sector that are mostly benefited with a great allocation, even the government are facing the challenges. The most benefit sector that receiving a biggest allocation is from the educational sector. This sector, which is the Education Ministry, is receiving 52.6 billion ringgit of distribution. While for the Higher Education Ministry, they are receiving 14.5 billion ringgit. Educational sector is one that never been abandoned at all. With the largest allocation, it will distribute to give money to the 3 million of students to start the school that have been closed since the lockdown situation. Also, the allocation are for the maintenance of school to be repaired and upgraded ramshackle schools. Another sector that benefited from the budget 2022 is the health sector. Years by years, health sector are also being given focus to become better by the government. Plus, with the COVID-19, there are more allocation will be accepted to ensure our healthcare are in the greater state. In budget 2022, the Ministry of Health receiving 32.4 billion ringgit, where it is more than last year's budget. The allocation is consisting for medical supplies and many more. The COVID-19 also have a funds where it added 4 billion ringgit, which half of it is for the supply of component and disposable that needed regarding the COVID-19. Another half of the funds are for the immunization of COVID-19. With the biggest allocation in history, the budget is focused on repairing the economy that badly hurt so that it will be just like before the COVID-19 situation. Another sector that benefited from the budget 2022 are the economy sector. Tax RB deduction will be given to the businesses in terms of renovation of the premises according to the Standard Operating Procedure or SOP. Also, under the economy sector, the funds will be given with a total of 2 billion ringgit for the small and medium-sized enterprise, also known as SME. This is to helping them to regain back their businesses. 40 billion ringgit will allocate for helping to recovery for their businesses despite their size as a part to permanent helping. There are plans of initiative that be made to helping the tourism industry to recovery from collapse due to the pandemic that struck the country. 1.6 billion ringgit are being allocated to assisting the tourism industry. That is why this sector becomes one of the most benefit over budget 2022. That's it from me. Thank you.
I will explain the least benefit sector in the recent public sector. The first sector is culture, youth and sports. This sector is critical for youth development and sport culture, and it can help shape a more prosperous and united Malaysia. In budget 2022, the government has allocated RM332.1 billion to FX. Its function include increasing people's income, increasing employment opportunities and assisting the business sector, which will undoubtedly benefit the youth, which can indirectly help the country's sport industry to develop further. The next sector is the housing sector. The sector needs to provide affordable housing for those who are qualified and resolve any housing disputes that arise. This sector involves various parties and all of them will be affected if there is a problem. In continuing with Budget 2022, the Ministry of Finance mentioned that they will provide housing initiative, particularly for the low-income category, with a total value of 1.5 billion, and the funds would be used to build people-friendly homes and provide support with housing maintenance. The third sector is village and community development. The function is to increase the rural population's quality of life, which contain the social and physical infrastructure. This sector is very important to increasing the level of rural health and educational services. Only 2.5 billion is allocated to various initiatives for the rural area in the 2022 budget, which includes the Rural Road Project. This advancement was so significant that there will be no discriminations against people living in rural areas, especially during this pandemic. Last but not least is the development of mineral resources. It is to increase the effectiveness of sustainable energy and natural resources conservation project. They also optimize human capital development and effective financial management. The funds in the budget 2022 will be utilized to enhance the government conservation activities and also biodiversity protection. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Najwa binti Muhammad Sarani, and here I will explain on the rationale of prioritizing the most benefited sector, which is the education sector, health sector, and the economic sector. Okay, first, the rationale of prioritizing education sector. First, creating it will create more employment opportunities, which is most of people will apply for low salary income position as it requires a lower education level, but yet with a better education level they will gain a high potential to fill the vacant. Okay, second, to secure a higher income. Okay, usually people with a good experience and good knowledge can easily get high wages and a good job. It is likely to be paid off when you study hard in school and able to achieve the ambition. Then, second, we move to rationale of prioritizing the health sector. Okay, first, health sector is a component for economic growth discussion with a good condition of health. It will contribute to a huge success in global growth in terms of labor force and also its productivity. Okay, then we move to the rationale of prioritizing economic sector, which we can lower the government borrowing since the government income is getting higher through its tax revenue as the economy is growing. Hence, it will decrease the amount for borrowing to spend money on society, such as to give to the unemployed person. Okay. Then second, unemployment. Okay, more worker is needed when the business is grow bigger and when the business is pushed toward to a higher input, to a higher output also. That's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Amalina binti Ahmad. I'm going to present rational prioritized sector. Rational prioritized sector is provide inclusive access to good learning and teaching conditions. Ministry of Education have received largest allocation, 52.6 billion on every year for education purpose to prioritize education as it is important in the public expenditure. It is because the government prioritize implement to provide necessary and fulfill essential of institution and school to enhance effectiveness toward initiatives to sustainable progressive in the education. They aim to ensure country improve the capacity of education system on learning and teaching include facility. The Peranti Siswa Keluarga Malaysia is an initiative taken into account by the government to collaboration with selected telecommunication company, which is they will provide a tablet for B40 higher education students in institutions of higher learning. For this reason, the student can ensure access to technology toward learning process and reduce financial burden to obtain the internet facility. The government commitment to support the public of needs on offer affordable data plan through package data pelajar or learning from home package. Besides, the budget will provide allocated RM100 one-off as special incentive for teaching aid toward 400,000 teachers. It is because the teacher have managed online teaching and learning for students during the pandemic COVID-19. The government also upgrade the facility to support education, which is their concentrate to purchase of teaching equipment and improve towards special needs. Therefore, they continue priority and optimistic the quality of education and miserable learning outcome on education system. They will create the opportunity to overcome on difficult time for better education system for their future. Then, rationale prioritize sector is strength and improve public healthcare. It have prioritized for public healthcare, which is essential component of flexibility health system and defense against crisis or pandemic COVID-19. It has allocated to the public healthcare as guidance for pandemic response and preparedness. The crisis of pandemic have impact to the system that it lead to take initiative regard the recovery from future emergency, staff well-being, system performance and integrated care. The government remain optimistic the delivery service and need help, which is 32.4 billion allocated to the Ministry of Health for operating and development expenditure. It is because it will support the prevention and treatment related to the COVID-19 and also commitment all aspects such as disease control, health education, and promote family health development. The budget 2022 on health system will prepare to prevent same mistake of the past budget to the future pandemic. The government has distributed 4 billion to address COVID-19 related system, which is to ensure upgrade hospital capacity and capability with medical equipment. It is because the government focus on undertake fight for crisis pandemic in effort to enhance resource health and medical facility. Besides, the government prioritize allocated of 70 billion for mental health issue to ensure support and advice counseling. The mental health has been increased since of the pandemic, such as depression and domestic violence. It is important to strengthen mental health service in the country. By allocated, it support effective progress to achieve health coverage and clear plan for improving the health of all Malaysians. Its effort to strengthen and improve public healthcare will assign recovering from long-term effect toward pandemic challenge in the future. That's all from me. Thank you.
To be concluded, annual budget is needed in order to provide expenditure of the various sectors in this country. Hence, the government need to identify the most benefit sector, including education sector, health sector, and economic sector that will provide more accessible to meet the public needs. This is to ensure that the public get the benefits when the expenditure of the important sectors were given accurately. As we can see, the education is to avoid the stunt of the education among all of the students. Then, the health sector is to create awareness about the health, especially in this pandemic COVID-19, while the economic sector is to avoid financial crisis among all of the citizens. That's all from us. Thank you.